Yahweh, Alam, Shalom, righteous family. Welcome back to True Talk. Barak, Wa, Yahaba, to the daughters of Zion. That's blessings and love to you. And the daughters of Zion is the so-called Negroes, black women that are scattered to the four corners of the earth. Shout out and much love to you. And as a not only a friend and a protector uh, and provider, but as a brother, I must come and defend the honor of my beautiful sisters, Hebrew sisters, because there's a lot of talk about statistics, and people like to make like statistics is facts. Like when you talk to people, it come off as if they talking about facts. Like, well, that's the statistics. That's the facts. That's what the statistics say. You can't get around facts. And what I learned is statistics is not facts. And we're gonna prove a little bit of that today. If y'all bear with me, we gonna groove, but we gonna get through this thing. But we gonna move with rhythm. You know how we do, and we gonna learn because we know learning is gangster. Learning is what the reals do, the real ones. But nevertheless, before I go further, let me elaborate on that. Only fools and idiots don't want to increase knowledge. So yeah, we all about keeping it hood, keeping it gangster, keeping it ghetto, keeping it real, keeping it Hebrew, keeping it black, but above all, keeping it righteous and intelligent with wisdom and knowledge and putting the most out first if y'all don't know. And yes, I'm one of those crazy ones that believe all those can exist in one space because I like to consider myself all those. Because what somebody may consider a gangster or thug or ghetto is a hood, they see the negative and got so many negative narratives and opinion of what those words mean or what it means to be that. And I disagree with that. But that's another video for another day. Now this is something that we all done heard. We done heard the Caucasian racist people that just obsessed with us that can't keep our name out their mouth. They gotta try to bring us down to make them they self feel good. You hear them bring up black women abort more of their babies than are born. Black women's, and you also hear so-called, let's just call them uh, raccoons. We have certain raccoons that and I don't believe in blue, red, Democrat, Republicans. Same bird, two different wings. But nevertheless, a lot of the black conservatives, Republican young men also like to have this same talk. And they think they're doing us a favor, but they speak without knowledge, they speak without wisdom, and they speak without love. And you can tell because if you, my bad, if you repping any party that hard, then you in the matrix, you brainwashed, you really don't understand life. Uh, but nevertheless, they'll say, black women abort their babies more than any other demographic of women in America. That the dangerous place for a black child is in a black woman's womb. And then they'll come with these statistics. And they'll state these statistics like facts. Now, like I said before, statistics to me is like zooming in on a piece of puzzle and identifying what that puzzle look like, what color it is and everything, and what's going on around that puzzle, but not zooming out to understanding how that puzzle got there or what's connected to that puzzle. It's what we say, it's the details that are very important. There's a saying, the devils are in the details, meaning, something that may look good. Just look closer at the details, you can see if it's got good fruits or bad fruits. So it's very disingenuous to bring up any stat without actually doing your research and understanding why a certain things are like that, because there's always a reason. So let's talk about statistics. The statistic says that black women abort their babies more than any other demographic. That's according to that statistics. That's fact. That's what statistics say, that only that about 30 something percent of abortions is done by so-called Hebrew black women. But let's dig a little bit deeper in those statistics. And this is coming from liveaction.org. It's a news source, let you know where I'm getting my source. So this was taking place in 2022. So this study or data was put out in 2022 or about 2022. It says in 2022, CDC data reveals black Americans make up 11.7% of people living in the United States. I thought it was 15%. I guess, I don't know. But account for 39.5 of abortions. So, okay, boom. Now let's jump down to white Caucasian. The white population. We talked about the black women. And notice it got the black women bold in black letters. But it says white America make up 57.7% of the people living in the United States, but account for 39.9% of abortion. Okay, so this is not, my bad, I said black women. This is black America and white America. Black America, we're just gonna round off to the nearest 100 or 10. Uh, Black America make up 12% of. We'll round out to the nearest 12. 12% make up Black America. 12% of black people live in the United States. Uh, 60%. It say 57. We gonna round out to the nearest 100. So we're just gonna say 58, 60% of the population is white. Then we go down. It says Hispanic make up about 20% of the population in the United States. And even though the white population make up just over half of the population in the United States, 31.9% commit abortion. Now, I want to look at these numbers. We got the abortions of white and black, both in the 30%. 31.9% white abortion, 39.5% black abortion. that's not really that far apart. But of course, we love to talk about uh, compared to the demographic. So if what they say true that only 12% of black people are in America, then we'll have to take off the men's because men's don't abort their children. We'll have to take off the boys, the black young boys. Boys don't abort babies. We'll have to take off the young ladies that are virgin, that are not pregnant, the young girls that are not pregnant and aborting their babies. And then not all black women are aborting their babies. So we'll have to take off that percent. So out of 11%, there's only a small group of black women that are aborting their babies. And don't quote me on this. Let me just throw it out. Let me just say 4%. 4% of black women are aborting their babies. And yes, that's high in a population for 4% to be aborting their baby. But is there a reason for this? Do we got an explanation? Are these people just baby killers? Well, to get a better understanding, we got to bring up the numbers. Like, how are these small percent of women making up not half of the abortion? It's not half, but a large percent of the abortion. Nearly 40% of the abortion black women make up. That's because, in the great scheme of things, not that many abortions are happening every year. Now, don't get me wrong. More more abortion happening that should be happening. But I done heard people throw out like millions of babies dying every year. 20, 100 million, all these big numbers. But that's not what the so-called statistics say. Statistics, if we look right here, the year of abortion, it said it went down 10%, but the year 2021, 6,000 abortions happened, 6,000, some change. So basically, 6,000, my bad, 600,000 abortion happened. And when you go through the years, all the way from year 2012 all the way up to year 2021, we see the theme that 600,000 abortions are happening every year in the United States. Now, as the Holy Scripture says, we always got to have a second witness to establish everything. So here go with the second witness, and I done went to many websites, and it says the same thing. The record abortions falling during the last decade, number reported of abortion in 48 United States between 2010 2019, 2010 2019. And we see that it's still around here around a little over 600,000. So even though, like I said, that's 600,000 babies should not be dying uh, every year. But when you look at that, what's 30% or 40% of 600,000 plus the change or whatever? And when I did, the calculator and divided, you know, 40% uh, divided. Matter of fact, let's do that now. Let me pull up the calculator. So here you go right here. 40% out of 600,000. And remember, we just rounding it because it's 600,000 plus, and it's just 39%. But we rounding it, and so about 240,000. So let's just say out of 600,000, 240,000 are black women aborting their children. So that means we got what, 40, 100,000, 400 and some change thousand of people that are accounted for now. We know that about, I don't know, another 200,000 are Caucasian women. And then the other are divided between Hispanics and Asian and mixed race and so forth. So when you think about why black people make up so high of a number, first of all, because the number in abortion is not that high in the first place. It's like if, say, there was five women getting abortion. Out of all the women, only five women got abortion, and out of those five, three of those women was black. That means black women make up 75% of the women that's getting aborted because the number is not that great. So even though it's only three women's, black women's that's getting a baby aborted, and let's just say two Caucasian women's, because it's such a small number, the black women's make up 75%. But in this case, the black woman makes up only 39% of abortions, and the white woman make up 31% of abortion. So I just point that out because people make like black women are just aborting their baby more than any other race, and black women are just killing their baby at a high rate, and other women ain't doing so. No, other women are aborting their babies also. And once again, the question is, well, why is it high so high amongst black women? Now, not all black women, because we make up 12% of the population. I heard 15, but let's just say 12% or 15, however you want to say it. And we gotta exclude the men's, the children, and the women that ain't getting abortion. So only a small percent of the women are getting an abortion. Let's talk about how Planned Parenthood and Margaret, the one that started this abortion clinic, it was built to target black women. Let's talk facts. These are facts, ladies and gentlemen. Why wouldn't the black women be the highest when they are target the most? In the black neighborhoods, they got abortion clinics. In Caucasian neighborhoods, they got fertility attendants clinics, wanting them to have baby. But even despite that, white women are the second largest getting a baby aborted. But nobody point out that. Nobody want to say the quiet part out loud. Not only that, but what have been pushed and taught in society about so-called black people and making it in this society. They say all the time, "Oh, if you wanna, you selfish for having a baby and you're not married. You selfish for bringing a child in this world, and you ain't got the funds for it." And who are not, a lot of black women are successful in black marriage and couples, but we just state what we like to say the obvious and facts. Many of our Hebrew sisters ain't got it like that, and they are from the poor side of the town, and it's being pushed. And a lot of them did grow up poor and struggling, or maybe they're because of the how many false imprisonment of our black men that maybe her baby daddy end up getting locked up, and she decides she can't do it on her own. So there's many reasons why a woman, especially a black woman, will abort her child. The fear of not having enough to support that child, or society saying you should not have that child. The pressure of that, the pressure of she going to school and trying to make it and end up getting pregnant. And unlike other groups, she can't just have the baby and send it home and let her mama and family take it to daycare and take care of it. Cause back home they struggling, they can't afford another mouth to feed. So we got to take that in consideration. And what else we need to take in consideration and look at the details. Let's talk about some more so-called statistics. And this is coming from Who Inc. Newsroom, another article you can look up. And this is about abortion. This is the World Health Organization. I said who on I mean, so the World Health Organization. And this is abortion. And this is where these major numbers come from. We look at overall around 73 million induced abortions happen or take place worldwide each year. So if we talk about worldwide, yeah, that's a high number. But I want you to pay attention to induced abortion because I'm making a point with this. 6 out of 10, that's 61% of all unintentionally pregnancy, and 3 out of 10, that's about 30% of all pregnant pregnancy in an induced abortion. So I bring that up to say this: every abortion is not due because a woman does not want her baby. It's due because of complication or difficulties that either if she don't get this abortion, she gonna die, or the baby has already died. And who in America has the highest mortality death when it comes to baby, where either they die or the baby die? Are we considering these stats the black infant health pregnancy? The mortality death rate of black women in America was nearly 7% out of 100 alive birth. So a lot of these black women that are forced to abort their child is not because they don't want their child or their baby. It's because of complication. And black women's out of all the demographic, because should I say to loud part out loud, stigmatized racist or the system of racist doctors and not treating black women the same as they treat any other demographic. They're not taking black women serious when they say my back hate or my oh that's just a part of pregnancy. You'll be alright. And not to add on, a lot of things with the diet and everything, it's fatal and nearly twice as more dangerous for a black woman to have a baby than any other demographic. Nobody brings that up when they like to say, "Oh, the most dangerous place for a black baby is in a woman's body." They never say also the most dangerous uh, thing is a black woman giving birth because she can lose her life, and even if she wanna have that baby, because of the medical system built up around racism, they don't get the care that they should and need it. That a lot of times their baby die, pass away, and have to be aborted. See, we don't understand when these numbers come out, statistics about abortions. It's also those babies that uh, die in complication, because aborting means just taking a baby out, aborting your baby. It's not also they don't include that some of these babies that are getting aborted are because of health reasons. Not that we just killed this live baby and didn't want it, but the baby was already unalive in her stomach, and she didn't move it, that she was gonna pass away. Let's get a second witness. Now I hope y'all can see this. It says the pregnantly related death amongst white women, about 13%. Uh, we don't say a Native Americans, 30%, and against black women, 40%. The highest of any death rate. And notice the Caucasian women are the highest population. These two, Native American and black women, are the lowest population in the country, but have the more death rate. So that's just a second witness to say that, once again, that's to let you know statistics is not based on facts. It's based on opinion of a bunch of information given that don't have all the facts and details attached to it. And I'm gonna show you even further what I mean by that. Just to beat this home, it says in the U.S., black women are 2 out of 3 times more likely to die during pregnancy and childbirth than white women. Yes, it's a deadly job being a black woman out here, period. Now, even though there's a small group of black women that make up about 40% of the abortions, we said why black women are target in abortions. Abortion tenants are in the black community, that a lot of these pregnancies are not, these abortions are not wanted. A lot of these women want their baby, but it's due to difficulty in uh, pregnancy, life and death. And a lot of times these women, especially black women, because they don't just have abortion one time. Because if you don't know, if you had a miscarriage the first time, you are twice likely to have a miscarriage a second time. Any doctor will tell you that, say, be careful because you already had a miscarriage, so you at a higher risk. It's not just black women aborting their babies. Like we said, it's only a small percent of black women. We just gonna say what, 4, 5% of black women that are aborting their babies. They're making up this 40% out of only 600,000 babies that get aborted in a year. So once again, we talking about the small numbers of yearly abortions, not in the millions, even though it's high enough to make up 40%. It's only 200, uh, 240,000. So out of 600,000, 240,000 are black women. But those other 400 and something thousand, we not accounted for that. But nevertheless, this woman, and this uh, look like a Hispanic woman. I had to terminate my pregnancy twice. She had to do it twice. Not because she wanted to, but because she had to. Many of our sisters going through this. But do statistics tell you that, oh, these, you got many women that done had 3 or 4 abortions, some of them intentionally, and some of them unintentionally actually had to. You got a lot of, I know this female, she was married, done had 3 or 4 kids, and she was in her late 40s and 50s, and she got pregnant and was too old. She got pregnant twice and was too old. And the first time they had, had to get rid of the baby, and then she got pregnant again, and she made it far with that one. And her and her husband are happy that they was having a baby in the old age, but also had to terminate that one because that didn't make it. So that also went into the statistics of those babies getting aborted. But it don't say that this woman has been married for over 20 years, her and her husband, and already had 4 kids. And the only reason she got rid of those 2 babies was because she was up in age and her body wasn't able to handle it. This why statistics are not facts. They are opinion based on information. And sometimes those information are intentionally wrong. Despite, and this is coming from NPR website, despite ban in some states, more than a million abortions was prevented in 2023. What we talking about? Sorry about the interruption, but once again, that wasn't an article. I'll get back to that article, but it's from the same article. It's NPR article. Let's see what it says, ladies and gentlemen. It says some red states report zero abortions. Doctors and research say it's not true. So these are journalists doing what they do, doing true journalists. But you won't see this on the main news. They saying a lot of red states are not reporting their abortion numbers. And you got to realize that by doing this research, I learned that it's not mandatory for any states to necessarily, like, there's no law to say you have to do this. It's something that they encourage them to do and they should do, but they're not going to get in trouble if they don't do it. So, guess what states usually put in the data for abortions? Big cities like Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, but certain cities and towns and states don't do it. And especially the red states, the people that the so-called government that like to push the pro-life. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against pro-life. I feel like everybody, if you pro-life, yeah, you can be pro-life, and you and your wife have your babies. But nevertheless, uh, I'm pro-life too. But nevertheless, uh, I don't feel like I can dict what goes on in another person's house and what they do. May the Most High judge them on that. Uh, but do I agree with it? No. And would I do it? No. But I can't control nobody else. But that's a political, talk. My opinion. We can go back and forth. You can shed some light on that. I can shed some light, and so forth. At the day, it's I stand on morals and principles, and more than anything, the word of the Most High. So we go down here, and it talks about, if you go and read this article, it talks about how these states basically are lying. That and look at the states that are included in this: Arkansas, South Dakota, Idaho, states where usually Caucasian women, but these are not getting added to the statistics because they are pointing at, oh, we got zero abortions. And you got this whistleblower, this physician. Let me see what she had. She was like, they're lying right here. Uh, it says the statistics most recent available in public and government record has been celebrated by anti-abortion activists. So they're like, yeah, these are wins. We see women don't want to get abortion, especially in the red states. And it says medical professionals with an S says account or not only untrue but foundational or honest. That's basically saying it's untrue twice. Like y'all not just lying, y'all lying. And this position go and say, I had dealt with women who came in my office that, apparently after abortion they had to take some type of pills to get healed. She said I gave these women these pills after having an abortion. Also, abortions. Uh, I had to do some surgery on some women, you know, the pregnancy that had aborted their baby. So she's like, I know y'all lie. So that's one way that the numbers are not accurate. Not all states are putting in the survey. Like you never heard. I'm pretty sure y'all done had people come to your door, knock on your door, and they like, yeah, we doing a survey. You ain't gotta take it, but we just doing it. And they want you to put your name down, your race, how many people live in your household, how old you is, where you working, and stuff like that. And I don't know about y'all, but in the hood, a lot of times we no thank you. Sometimes it used to come through the mail, and we'll just throw it away. And then they start knocking on your door, try to get you to get it. So these surveys are not based on every situation, every city, every clinic. It's only who gives the report. And when I do another video, it's the same with crime statistics. A lot of these states where mostly Caucasian live, like Ohio and all that, they don't report their crime rate. But then people want to look at these statistics and say, act like these are facts. Uh, I really don't want to read this, so I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all. Maybe y'all can pause it and scroll down this and read it as I scroll down. But this is the part that I really want to get to. It was basically the woman saying that, yeah, it's only 600,000 being recorded abortion. But she said really it's more. It's really millions. She said if you account the self-management abortion, like broker control and Plan B, there's many medications that you ain't gotta go to a doctor and get aborted. That you just take these medicine and it prevents you from having kids or even kill the seed, before it hatches or whatever that medicine do. And she was like, if we count those, then the statistics of abortion in America would be way higher than what it is. So that's not in the statistics. Well, if you are Caucasian or a Mexican or a black woman, it's not saying the women that are aborting their babies by taking Plan B in medicine. The statistics of that. That's not added into the abortion statistic. And that's why statistics are not facts. When we talk about the statistics, let's keep in mind that a lot of these statistics are not true. They trying to paint a narrative. They're not the whole picture painted. They're not even all the data. Some states and people don't put in the data. And behind these data, there are reasons. A lot of these abortions are miscarriage. A lot of these abortions are uh, pregnant difficulties. And then you got the abortions that are not counted in certain states. And then you got the abortions that are not counted that, like Plan B, self medication, where they don't have to go into a physician office. Not only to mention that this whole thing was built to target Negroes. They like to say it was built to target the Jews and the Negroes. Well, they're like one and the same. I don't know about the Jewish. The Jewish is different. Yeah, the Jewish people are different. but the Jew and the Negro is the same. The Hebrew really is not Jewish, it's Judah, but uh, nevertheless, they are targeting our women. So why wouldn't we be the highest? Nobody talk about how they target our women, how this was built to target our women, and nobody talk about the despair that a lot of our women have and the pressure they have not to have a baby because daddy ain't there, or because they ain't got the right job, or because they just don't feel comfortable like other races to bring a child in this world. First of all, being black and poor, they're like, nah, I think you wouldn't even make it. I know I'm struggling, so being black and poor, I rather let you be with the Most High. Now, to end this, I don't agree with abortions. We need all the soldiers and queens and kings and doctors and lawyers. We cannot build a nation without the family. I believe in a strong, godly, righteous Hebrew man with a strong, righteous, beautiful, intelligent Hebrew woman to have beautiful kids and to not only build this nation but this world up. And we can't do that while we burying babies before they get a chance to even speak. But let's put some respect on our women's name. You know, when anybody try to discredit our women or try to bring up stats and say they do this, they do that, let them know stats are not facts, and there's many moving parts that plays of why certain things seem or look a certain way, and that we must not just look at stats but look at reality and look at the world that we live in and be real with ourselves. Do the black community got a lot to work on? Yeah, but why? Nobody like to talk about the root cause. Oh, y'all just they love to put the blame on us, but don't love to own up for the BS that this country, this government has put our people through, and to not admit that that effect is the result we have today is just a lie. I'm gonna say what they say: untrue and unhonest, a lie. But we know they don't give a f, and they gonna throw rocks and hide their hand. So now I'm just talking to my people. We know what they done. We know what they doing. But we gotta look in the mirror and we gotta say we gotta do better. And for all y'all brothers that wanna come on here and bash our people and think y'all helping, no, you help by getting from behind the computer and actually doing work, actually ministering to our people. If you want to see our people do better, don't sit behind the internet and bash our young men and women. Go out there in the community to help them because these young men and women are not looking at your channel. Only right racist people that get a hard on and what they call get a good feeling of being assessed and hating on another race of people, and they can say, well, somebody look like them saying it. It's true. See, so they think that same way about you. Like it's foolishness. Like I don't know how they. Somebody I heard somebody say common sense ain't so common no more. It's like these things shouldn't be hard. But as always, let Yah be true and every man a lie. Till next time, Shalom.